Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another What I'm Reading Right Now video here on the channel. This is the series where I talk about what I have been reading, what I'm currently reading, and what I shall be reading next. I took a week off. It was my off week last week, and you would think I would have a whole bunch of books to tell you about. I don't. It's just been one of those weeks, I guess. I will tell you that I finished 2 books since the last time we spoke, which is not great, but we're moving on from it. First up, I finished Sydney J. Shields' The Honey Witch. I have a full video review coming out for this, so I won't talk about it too much. However, I will say, I've talked about this on Patreon, and obviously they've got early access to the video. I didn't love this. I thought it was fairly I don't want to besmirch it completely. It was fine, just not particularly amazing, and now that I've made the video for it, I will be unhauling it because I can't see myself reading it again. I don't think that Sydney J. Shields is a bad writer. I don't think that this was the right book, and I'm done. I'm done with it, thank you. The other book that I finished, which I think is probably what made me completely stall in my reading, was The Terraformers by Annalee Newitz. Now you would think, because I've said that I didn't like this book. Untrue, I really did. I think this is a fantastic book. This paperback copy is deceptively small. It is actually very tiny font, and this just took ages to get through. It is a slow book, it is a confusing book, there's a lot of world building to get done, there's time jumps so you have to reassert yourself in the narrative. It took a while. I still think it's really good, and I'm gonna sit and put together my thoughts for a video. But yes, I think I wouldn't recommend this to everybody, but I do think it's really good. This is the story of a world that has been, or is in the process of being terraformed at the start of the book, and it is also about gentrification and fighting against the privatization of land. I liked it. I think it's a really interesting topic. I think Annalee Newitz writes sci-fi in a very entertaining way. As I say, go in knowing that this did mean that I didn't read anything else for a full 2-week period because I was trying to get through this. I'm in the middle of 2 things. I'm reading Sword Heart by T Kingfisher, so I am now behind in my own read-along, which doesn't feel great, but I just haven't had the brain to do an audiobook for quite some time, and I don't really know why, but I'm going to try and get back into it. Maybe I burned myself out on audiobooks. I don't know. This is about a woman who inherits a house. Right at the beginning of the book, she inherits a house from the old man she's been caring for, who is like an elderly relative, and then his relatives sort of descend and say, no, you should marry effectively your cousin, I think, and she doesn't want to because they want the house, and she decides that she is going to make a drastic decision, is what I shall say, to avoid the YouTube monetization bots, but check out the content warnings for the book. However, when she unsheaths a sword to do so, then the sword produces a man, and they're on the run, and that's where I've got to. It's a classic T Kingfisher romantic fantasy. I'm enjoying it, it's a good time. I just need to dedicate some more time to it. And the other book that I am in the middle of, I say in the middle, I'm 7 chapters in, which I think is about 58 pages, there we go, is Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. This is the story of the goddess Ganga. I'm loving this. I think it's really good. I think it's very well written. I'm really liking it. I'm excited to dedicate some more time to this. I basically just haven't read this because I only started it right at the end of last week. But I'm looking forward to it. By the time you're watching this, I should have finished it, and I'm excited. Right, still to read this week. We are catching up, so the list is going to look a little bit long. Bear with me. I have Shards of Earth by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is 80 years ago, the Earth was destroyed by an alien architect. Some escaped, but millions more died. Humanity has shaped the minds of Idris and others into weapons and sent them into battle. I don't know what it's going to be like. I do have an audiobook edition of this, so I might switch over to that, just because I don't know how I'm going to feel about a physical book for this. We'll see how we go. To catch myself up on my own read-along, because why am I like this? What Moves the Dead by T Kingfisher. This is one of her horrors. I'm super excited to get to this. I've really enjoyed all of her horror so far. I'm looking forward to reading it. I will be doing a reread of Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. Yes, it is behind me. I can't get it out from the bottom of this stack. I will be getting it out to reread it at some point this week. That's for Overbooked. I'm looking forward to rereading book 1 and going into book 2. The eagle-eyed among you, the people who have been paying attention, may realise that I read Painted Devils, the sequel, fairly recently for me. However, I didn't do a reread of book 1, and I want to see if reading book 1 and going straight into book 2 makes a difference to the reading experience of book 2, because I didn't love book 2, and I want to know if that's because I didn't do a reread. After I finish Goddess of the River, my review copy for the week is Dreadful. This has been on my list for ages, frankly. I'm looking forward to getting to it. It's a evil lord. I've heard mixed things. One person said I really wouldn't like it, that they bounced off it. I'm going in with a fairly open mind. I think I'll probably be fairly swift to DNF if it isn't great, because it's a little bit of a punt for me, but we'll see. Since we last spoke, 3 new things have come onto my TBR, but it's fine, don't worry about it. One of them is The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart. I have a digital review copy of this. I wasn't gonna request it, and then I was like, oh, I've been reading all my books, it'll be fine. And then I didn't read very many books for 2 weeks, and now I feel bad about it. But it's a new Andrea Stewart and I'm excited. I don't know much about this one. I believe it is 2 sisters who end up on other sides of a war that the gods are having. It'll be fun, I expect. If you don't know already, I love Andrea Stewart's writing. The Bone Shard Daughter is one of my favourite series of all time. I just love it so much. So I'm excited to see what she's done next. Another slightly weird one, Unexploded Remnants by Elaine Gallagher. I've never read anything by her before. I don't even know if this is her debut. I've not looked into this very much. I think that my little magpie brain just saw the cover and went, that seems neat. That seems like a neat cover. I think this is to do with like a world of AI, and presumably this person on the cover is the last human. I will report back to you on it. I don't know. It could be great. It could be terrible. We'll find out together. And lastly, I have a review copy of a book that, I'm not going to lie, I will probably end up buying, but we'll see. This is Buried Deep and Other Stories by Naomi Novik. This is a collection of short stories, unsurprisingly, written by author Naomi Novik, who, if you don't know, wrote The Scholomance, wrote the Temeraire series, wrote some original fairy tales like Uprooted and Spinning Silver. I love her writing. I'm really excited for looking into these worlds in a bit more detail, getting a little bit more of a kind of slantwise insight into them. And apparently we also get to see the world of her next work, which is going to be really exciting. I'm hyped for that. So yes, 3 books added to the TBR, but all of them seem either exciting or interesting, and we'll see how we go. I did have a quick look at new releases for this week. There weren't any that I have read, I don't believe. However, Daughter of the Merciful Deep by Elle Penelope is coming out. I haven't read this specifically, but I've read other books by Elle Penelope and really liked them. So if I were making a choice for every book that's been released this week, that would be the one I would pick. I'm fairly motivated to read this week, I would say. I've got a lot of long runs coming up this week, so I need to set my audiobooks for those and just accept that I can't pace myself to music. I need to audiobook, so that's one thing I'm going to do. And other than that, this week is looking fairly quiet, so hopefully there will be a lot of reading time to be found in amongst everything that's going on. I went to see Hadestown. Have we done a video since then? I don't think we have. I had the best time. It was so good. If you can go, it's phenomenal. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. I love it so much. I've loved it for so many years. Not to be a hipster about it, but I have loved it since before it was a show, and I'm really hyped for more people to be enjoying it and seeing it, and I've had the soundtrack on repeat, and it's just so good. I love Hadestown so much. It has also led me to think about some cool video projects for in the future when Overbooked is done, so stay tuned. Well, stay tuned in a kind of really long-term way for that. I think I might talk about it more on Patreon in our next live stream. So if you're a patron, stay tuned for that as well. I better get on and film my next video and then get to work, so I shall say farewell. What have you been reading? What have you been up to? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also come hang out on Discord, where we have chill chats about books. I'd like to say an enormous thank you to all the ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. They support the channel and in return get early access to videos, bonus content, live streams, and more. If you'd like to join their number, that's linked below as well. Thank you so much to you for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. It's gonna be some bloopers now. My eyes are leaking. The Bone War. Bone War?